Today, I'm adding spring pollen patties for explosive spring growth. I'm gonna look through 18 colonies and try to help them all grow for springtime by using these pollen patties. This colony looks to be about 2.5 frames. So I'll give them around a half of a patty, a third to a half. This is one of my smaller colonies. It's not tiny, but not large. They have tons of honey in between the frames, and I'll check this pollen patty in around 2 weeks. You can notice that I'm putting the pollen patty directly in the middle of the cluster. I would guess this hive has around 2 frames of brood, maybe 1.5. So they will use this pollen patty to grow much faster. This hive is around 7 or 8 frames, or not 7 or 8, probably 4 or 5 frames of bees. So I'll give them 3/4 of a patty. Today is March 31st. It's Easter. Happy Easter, everyone. And the crocuses just bloomed a few days ago, and today it's almost 50 degrees. So that's why I'm adding pollen patties. This colony still has a lot of food. Up on the right side, see a little condensation on the right side of the box here. No issues, the bees can deal with some moisture. I'm gonna give them this 2/3 of a patty. Don't make this mistake. I didn't take off the wax here before winter time, so it makes it harder to put the patty on. Luckily I have a big shim, so it's not a big deal. But if you're gonna be feeding patties, it's better to have more space to add them. I took right to that patty. No way, they're alive. None of them are flying. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I thought this hive was definitely dead. All right, I'm gonna give them just a little bit of patty and make sure I close them up real quick. To say I'm lucky is quite an understatement. I thought there was no chance these girls were alive. They're very small. Wow. Holy moly. Looks like there was a mouse in here. These girls are 6 or 7 frames of brood. I introduced a queen, or sorry, 4 or 5 frames of bees. I introduced a queen in this hive last fall, and she's definitely in here because they have way too many bees not to have a queen. Get ready, this hive is massive. Yeah, look at them. They're solid, like 7, 8 frames of bees. Very excited. And they're very calm too, which is nice. Something looks off about them though. I don't know. They're not clustering very tightly. Hopefully it's nothing and I'm just being crazy, but I'm worried they might be queenless, just the way the hive is clustered. Weird. Whoa. Another Corey Stevens queen. This one looks more normal the way the bees are clustering. It's like tighter. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know if you could catch it on video, but they just look more normal. Hopefully that one's not queenless, but I think it might be. There we go. Nice. I also should mention that I've been checking the hive's weights, and they're all heavy enough for right now. They're all about, this one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 frames of brood. So looking very good. This one's right on the borderline, so I'm just gonna give them the whole patty. I thought this was one of my smaller hives, but I guess I take that back. They're solid 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 frames of bees. The hives are gonna look bigger today regardless because it's 50 degrees with a little wind, so closer to 45, but still, considering it's March 31st, this is a pretty big colony. It's at least on pace to be split in mid-May. I wanted to mention before I leave this second yard, all the hives are flying except the really small ones, so that's why I thought they were dead. And smaller colonies can't fly as well because they don't have as many excess bees, so that's why they weren't flying. But it'll be really interesting to see if this hive was queenless or not. It'd be impressive if I was able to spot it, but it just looked different to me. Something looked off with them. But hopefully I'll get to do my first inspection in about 3 weeks and figure that out. This hive isn't huge. They got a 2 to 3 frame cluster, so nothing to be disappointed or write home about. Give them probably half of a patty to a third, somewhere in there. This is my third apiary of the day. First one was weak, second one was pretty strong, and we'll see how it goes from here. If I remember correctly, this is a big hive. Oh yes, it is a big hive. Dang! This one's massive, and the bees are trying to kill the camera. Sorry about that. They're not fans. Here's a patty, and I'll leave you alone. This one's a pretty big hive too. There we are. The interesting part is both of these last 2 hives are old queens. So they're in their, this will be their 3rd year. I requeen almost all my hives every year, or I have. So I'm surprised that they're doing so well, but they really are. These girls will get a patty as well. I'm trying to get some of these off. I should have brought my smoker, and I meant to. Here's a dead hive beetle, I think, in this piece of comb. I'm not as worried about chilling brood in these big hives because they can handle it better. It's the small hives that will have the most trouble to heat the hive up. But these girls will be fine, and I'll see them hopefully in 2 weeks. Wow. Holy moly. Also very happy. Hive's probably close to, 5 or 6 frames of bees. Let me know in the comments if you're going to be using pollen patties this spring. And if you don't, just let me know why. I'm curious to hear if you don't use them, what your reasoning is. There's definitely valid reasons. This hive looks pretty decent, not amazing. Looks to be around 2 frames of bees. They're one of my only 2 nukes that successfully overwintered. So we'll give them that patty and leave the feeder off so the patty will fit. Last hive in the apiary. Whoa. Huh. Surprised this hive is alive. I can see a bunch of dead bees in this portion, but they're still alive, so I'll give them a little bit of patty. If they survive, they're going to need a pretty big boost in a few weeks. So hopefully they make it. Bees have eaten a little bit of the sugar, not much, but this is a good sized colony. Probably like 4 frames to brood, maybe. Pretty decent, not massive, but not tiny either. I'm gonna leave the sugar on just in case they need it. This colony looks to be 2-ish, maybe 3 frames of brood, or bees. I'll go get them a little bit more patty. I'm also gonna scoot this sugar back over here in case they need some of it. They've eaten a little bit, but not much, so they probably don't need it. And with this insulated box, they burn less food because they need to heat the hive less. Let me know in the comments how your hives are doing. Like, I lost 28% of my hives this winter, which is a lot higher than I wanted, but these ones seem to be doing okay. Not great. This one's smaller. Hoping these bees are more carniolan and they just explode really fast in the springtime. But I would guess that this hive is more up at the front of the box. I'm not going to give them this whole patty though. Now that you've seen me put these pollen patties on 18 hives, check out this video right here. It explains exactly why I use them.